This is my first Munich conference, and I'm delighted to be here on behalf of the European Commission. And this year, the conference comes right at the time when the new political cycle in Brussels is kicking into full gear. Last year, this conference was opened by Sir Julian King, who was proved to be the last British commissioner in Brussels. But at the same time, Sir Julian was the first one to bring together all elements of European Union security policies under the single roof of a security union, of a security ecosystem, if you like, which is now the basis on which the new team will be building for the next 5 years. President von der Leyen has maintained and reinforced this structure and gave me the opportunity to work on security policies in a holistic and modern way. Dear friends, every person in the European Union has the right to feel safe, safe in their streets and their homes. Every operator, too, in the market should be in a position to protect their businesses from cyber attacks. And society at large should be in a position to reap the benefits of technology, minimizing the risks attached to it. It is not a secret that we're living in an age with increasingly complex cross-border and cross-sectorial security threats emerging every day, highlighting the need for closer cooperation on security at all levels. In this very complex ecosystem, Europe is and should remain an anchor of stability in a world that is becoming increasingly more unstable and unpredictable. As the chairman just said, as Vice President of the European Commission, my new role will be to ensure that all the elements of a Europe that protects and a Europe that empowers work seamlessly together. A Europe that delivers on its promise to protect our internal market with a genuine security union, which is a shield, but also with a set of policies for mobility, investment, and technological progress, which is an asset. There has been significant progress in the last years, and now, in the years to come, we will intensify our efforts, but the reality is that Europe's approach to security remains fragmented. And it remains fragmented across a host of different policy areas and remains fragmented across certain levels of policy making. Digital growth and rapid technological development create enormous opportunities, challenges, but also threats. And we have been discussing that before. It is not a secret that the technological time and the time of science is, as a general rule, much faster than the political time, the time of politics. Cyber attacks are one of the top 10 global risks for the next decade, according to the WEF Global Risks Report for this year. But at the same time, this globality of threat makes it very clear that no country is capable of tackling this challenge alone. Enhanced cooperation between our member states and more coordinated investments in the field of cybersecurity are of paramount importance to address this very complex issue and to continue building EU's resilience against cyber attacks. We will be working in the years to come to establish these kinds of synergies between all kinds of stakeholders, member states, the private sector, civil society, and academia. And what we're doing here today, I think it's a very promising start. In the last 5 years, when it comes to protecting our economy and society from cybersecurity risks, the EU had made progress. We have not only witnessed the adoption of the first pieces of EU legislation on cybersecurity, but we have also brought cooperation between member states in this field to an entirely new level. I must also say at this time that in this work, we in Europe, and in Brussels in particular, we very often feel rather alone in this battle. Unfortunately, it is becoming increasingly clear that not all regions in the world share the vision of an open, free, fair, stable, and secure cyberspace where fundamental freedoms and values as we know them in Europe are respected. More and more, state actors are more willing to employ cyber tools to achieve geopolitical goals. And we, as a European Union, will have to adapt to the geopolitical realities and the evolving threat landscape by developing new and adequate responses to these threats, and by making the most not only of our values, but of existing legal framework to protect our values. As far as I am concerned, in this field, the era of innocence, some say naivete, is over in Europe. We have already seen the benefits of coordinating our efforts both in identifying risks, but also in identifying solutions action. And I'll have a chance to say a few words on our work on 5G networks in a few moments. So we will continue focusing on improving cooperation and information sharing amongst our member states in all these areas. And we need to switch from a need to know to a need to share attitude amongst the member states of the Union. And this will be the role of the Joint Cyber Unit, an emblematic initiative announced by President von der Leyen this summer in her political guidelines. We have also already announced that this year we'll review the existing directive on security of networks and information systems, also known as NIS directive, which was the first cybersecurity law in the European Union, the first attempt to create a culture of protection of critical infrastructures, including energy, banking, healthcare, but also digital services providers. We're doing this through a culture of reporting of incidents so that we can learn more from each other and understand our vulnerabilities, but also from a culture of responsibility so that states and private actors share and identify what approaches we need to apply and where we can do more to maximize opportunities and minimize threats. This work is vital because it's about protecting our market, a market which is connected and interdependent and where anyone is always as strong as its weakest link. This work of updating our NIS rules will be undertaken in parallel with another revision of what we call European Critical Infrastructure Directive, because there the aim would be also to update very old rules on cross-sectorial legislation on physical infrastructure of critical importance. This is a moment where Europe would need to align fully the protection of our digital and physical critical infrastructures. There can be no asymmetry in the way we protect our citizens. And together with our Agency for Cybersecurity, ENISA, we will continue to proceed to implementing a certification network we adopted last year. This agency allows us to avoid fragmentation of regulation at EU level and promote a cybersecurity culture in Europe and with our partners around the globe. We have also proposed to set up, and I hope that this will be done as soon as possible in the new Commission mandate, to set up a European Cybersecurity, Industrial Technology and Research Competence Center. This new competence center will help strengthen European cybersecurity capacities, shielding our economy and society from attacks, maintaining research excellence and society and competitiveness of our EU industry. And this effort is something that is now relatively urgent. Finally, next week, I'm confused with continuous traveling. Next week, next Wednesday, the Commission will launch a major consultation on artificial intelligence, a technology that can be used against, but also for security. It can provide tools for detecting attacks, but it can also be used by malicious actors to multiply them. In our societies, our families and friends, in the years to come, we have to live with a new friend, or rather a frenemy, which will be called algorithms. And the way we go about algorithms that will shape a new reality will have to be framed now. And this frame has to be done at the European level, because this is precisely what Europe knows how to do well. We may not have air carriers or fighter jets, but we can still frame policy development at a common base to facilitate society and economy. On 5G, we will also continue to play a key role in the way these technologies will be developed. We need to ensure that 5G networks are secure and resilient against increasing cyber attacks and incidents. And this is particularly true for infrastructures such as energy, transport, financial, and health. You will certainly know that together with our member states, we have worked to produce and presented 10 days ago a toolbox for mitigating measures and plans designed to address effectively all major risks associated to 5G networks, such as criminal hacking, espionage, and sabotage in a coordinated and European way. By 2030, 5G technology will promote the emergence of 500 billion interconnected devices in Europe. Practically everything will be connected to everything, and everything will be connected to everyone. This new reality is almost here. So the way we go about risks and opportunities associated to this new world is for us to do, and is for us to do now. Let me now turn to cybercrime. We also need to step up our efforts if we want to make sure that our authorities can keep up with a high level of adaptability and flexibility employed by those who attack us. We tackle cybersecurity aspects not only in civilian, but also in the defense domain, and we have our law enforcement agencies like Europol doing very effective work in this area. Cyber defense is also an important aspect of our defense capabilities, and as such, it is part of our work program, both as the Commission, but also in view of the creation of the new European Defence Fund, which we have proposed and which we have proposed to provide with an important financial level of about 13 billion euros for the next 7 years, so that we can concentrate, simplify, and rationalize the very often inexplicably expensive research that we pay across Europe on arms and equipment. Cybersecurity is also critical on our work on hybrid threats. The Commission recently worked on the security of our elections and helped our EU member states to learn how to make their national systems more resistant, more resilient. And we had the first success, because thanks to this work, for the first time, the European elections last summer were, which is, by the way, the second biggest electoral process on the planet after the Indian elections. For the first time, the European elections were protected from disinformation, misinformation, and hybrid threats. We need to continue working in this area with cooperation, investments in equipment, in infrastructure, but also investments in the necessary skills and knowledge. The quest for more skills in Europe that match the needs in this area is a fundamental component for building our strength. Europe, in the years to come, will need a skills revolution in the digital economy. A major wave of investments, national, European, and a major wave of investments and incentives to attract the people we need and the people that we currently do not have. Unless we succeed in this skills revolution, we will not be able to make it, not in security union, but also on technology development. And finally, I have left for the end something that is probably the most precious commodity in the area of security and goes beyond infrastructure, competence, skills, people, networks. And this is trust. We need trust to build a true security union in Europe. Trust amongst ourselves, trust amongst member states, trust amongst member states at Brussels, trust among industry, civil society, and policy making. As far as we are concerned, and I had the chance to explain this to many of my institutional interlocutors, some of them present here, as far as we are concerned, our work on this security union work stream will never be a work that will aim to duplicate or replace work that is done effectively at national level. We will not do that. But we will do everything we can to make our member states, our agencies, industry, and civil society see that we are here to multiply. We are here to provide added value. And we're here to activate networks and the communality of you, which is crucial at this moment. So, what we are doing here today and what is about to follow, because I saw the program and I'm particularly impressed by the richness and the diversity of the different angles with which you will be discussing cybersecurity today. So this is an excellent start. Actually, I think this is the best ever possible start I would have in my new job in charge of Security Union. It is a fantastic opportunity for us not only to share with you our thoughts, but also to listen and to learn. So I wish you all a fruitful afternoon, and I invite you to stay close to us, work with us, and stag then cybersecurity with us. Many thanks.